Welcome to Let's Play Rule the Waves 3 as Germany starting in 1939. It's 1937, it's August, we're 3 months into a war with the Soviet Union, and through no fault of our own, we've had a massive hiccup with the only battlecruiser we have, the Graf Spee, being hit outside of a battle and having 5 months of repair. That means we have to cope with attempting to repel the Soviet invasion of the Baltic states without any capital ships whatsoever against 6 Russian battleships. Surely this is an impossible task, and we are likely to lose the Baltic states. And if that happens, then we'll have to make this a longer war in order for our own new battle cruisers to return and both place the Russians under blockade and recapture the Baltic states. That's at least how I'm seeing it. Whether by the seat of our pants we can avoid that fate, I don't know. But it's going to be tricky. It's going to be tricky. So let's go straight off and see what September brings. Okay, action with light forces, battle in support of land combat. Well, fair enough. Let's accept that. And the Russians decline. They only have destroyers left. Okay, another action with light forces. It's not in support of the land battle, and it's up here. Okay, I will accept it. Okay, great. They've declined that. Another small... Why the Russian battleships aren't coming out of the Gulf of Finland? I really have no idea when we just have 3 heavy cruisers available to us. Another small engagement. Okay, let's accept that. Okay, and this is happening. So there's some mine warfare going on as usual. I don't actually know what would happen if you press the cancel button here, but I'm going to press OK. And we're going to attack at 300. I don't know why fuel is a problem. Whether they think these destroyers are out all the time and it's just caught them at the bad time and they're having to go back. But 131 nautical miles is nothing for these cruisers, with these destroyers, all of which are medium ranged. So yeah, attack in general, and let's zoom out and see what we've got and when. Okay, so it's nighttime and dawn is going to be 7 hours and 15 minutes away. We have a 600-minute battle. So, you know, we have our forces. Let me just zoom in. At least they're nice and tidy together. We have the armored cruisers. I'm using the German here, the heavy cruisers. Blucher, Lutzow, and Prinz Eugen. Blucher is our 12 times 8-inch gun with 7-inch belts. Pretty happy with that, even though clearly vulnerable to torpedoes, as the Gneisenauer showed. And the Lutzow and the Prinz Eugen are sisters, 8 times 8, only a 4-inch belt. So let's close that up. We have a destroyer division that is screening for the heavy cruisers. We have another destroyer division, this one, which is independent, so that's fine. We have the second light cruiser division, so that contains Bremen and Lübeck. So let's just have a look at them. So 8 6-inch guns, 1916 era. I think they are sisters of the late Berlin. So yeah, so very much second-rate cruisers. Then a destroyer division screening the armored cruisers as well. So that's 2 divisions of destroyers screening us, and another one screening the light cruisers. Taking everybody off IA because usually in night battles we get going pretty quickly with the engagement. Just looking where we are in the Baltic, we could follow the Russians into the Gulf of Finland and go into Naval once we're finished, or we could withdraw either to Riga or Liblau down there if it comes to that. Let's go for a minute and see where the enemy are, and they're there. Oof, and there they are instantly. Okay, so let's have a little bit of a think of how to respond to this. So obviously the Russians need to turn either that way or that way in order to present their broadsides, in order to fire their torpedoes at us. So Blucher needs to go that way, ideally with everybody turning in line in order to minimize their exposure. We only have 4,000 yards to play with. Our destroyers obviously can rush forward. Let's change the color of this. Can rush forward for the destroyers there and over here and try and maintain contact and intercept. Once we've removed the initial danger of the heavy cruisers being torpedoed, then we can decide whether to bring them into action or keep them out of action because stuff. Obviously, if we move them too far away, then all of these destroyers will go on to AI control, and heaven knows what they'll end up doing. And then, of course, we've got our two old light cruisers, and I'm minded to perhaps bring them out as well, since they're clearly very, very vulnerable. Given that it's a small action, the likelihood is this is only Russian destroyers, so make our own destroyers rush forward, protect our cruisers from unnecessary risk, and then once it settles down into some sort of pattern, decide what to do is the plan. So let's make that so. Okay, that's everybody given their orders, all the destroyers rushing ahead, all the cruisers turning away as sharp as they humanly can. So that's reported as a CL, which obviously is a nonsense because they don't have any. This is a concerningly bigger ship than I'd hoped, but hopefully that's just, the usual misreporting. I'm going to order the flotilla attack and put the black flag up in order to, just encourage everybody to get going with the whole torpedoing of these people as soon as possible. Nice to see the heavy cruisers turning smartly and the light cruisers turning as quick as they can too. Ooh, I mean, yeah, so far so good. One more minute just to see. Okay, that's resolved itself into a destroyer. It says it's a light cruiser, it's almost certainly not. Just going to check on my destroyer formations and how they're doing. Okay, I've just given them orders to turn around these Russian destroyers. Obviously, this is the danger one, which is really close to Bremen. Lübeck is a little bit further away. I've ordered the light cruisers to go onto a core element so that they follow behind the heavy cruisers. The heavy cruisers are turning away nicely, but I don't want, obviously, to go too far. Let's just advance that. Okay, so the Russians have turned away. So with that said, I'm going to take Blucher this way and get them to form up a line, and I'm going to take the Bremen and send that down and allow the Bremen and the Lübeck to catch up with the Blucher, the Lutzow and the Prinz Eugen. I'm going to bring these destroyers, which are in danger of running out, around that way and see how that works. Obviously there's a lot of hits from various 5-inch, 4-inch, 5-inch guns, so that's all good. Bring the Blucher round a bit further. Oh, and the Russian destroyer is heavily hit, so that's nice. This one is medium damage, and that's nice as well. Where is the other one? I'm just going to turn on the show ship side flags. Okay. Just because I was losing sight of who was who. So loads of us, and I'm only seeing the 2 Russians. Okay, that's okay. Oh, there's the third. Right. That's a bit clearer. Oof. I was just about to say that this one is getting into a dangerous position, but not anymore. Oh, crikey. Well, I'm not sure, you'll correct me, those of you particularly who followed the France 1920 Rule the Waves 2 game for 99 episodes, but I think that's the fastest battle ever. So let's click OK. Yep, 3 destroyers, all sunk, boom. Let's have a little look at the ship details. So Grozny, absolutely pummeled with flotation and structure. 8 medium hits, probably did for it, no torpedoes. The Reshki. Now it's clear that I use Google Translate for my Russian translations. 14 medium hits, yep, that will do. And then finally, the last one, ditto, no medium hits, just 11 light hits, still wrecked it. Okay, mind you, I mean, it was a 600 tonner. That's probably what I wasn't noticing. No, this was a 2,000 tonner. And this was as well. So those are, you know, big modern destroyers, 2 4 5-inch guns. Yeah. 8 torpedoes. I'm not seeing any. Okay, only 1 Russian, 2 Russians fired some torpedoes. We didn't fire any torpedoes. Well, not from the, as far as I can see. Okie doke. Well, it's a small victory, but every little bit helps. And let's come out of here. I mean, the main thing is the cruisers got protected. It's a major victory. Doesn't seem very major from the victory points, but, you know, mustn't grumble. Okay, 20 corvettes commissioned into the Navy. Hooray and hurrah. They will all be in Northern Europe, so they will be all in Northern Europe, so they will be going into the Baltic straight away. The enemy sent out feelers through neutral nations about a negotiated peace without border changes or reparations. You know, I would love it if the game allowed a save at this point and I could put it to a poll. Partly because it absolves me of all the decision making here, but partly, you know, just for the fun of getting your reactions. Just checked any consequences, and if we take we should take our chance and end the war now, we would get a negative on the old prestige, which is still not high. So that's probably not an option. The mealy mouth the fleet can fight on if needed would result in peace, but we wouldn't get the negative reaction. And obviously we should not let them get off lightly and continue operations to secure our total victory. Now, the trouble with that is I don't think we can actually gain anything from the Soviet Union, except possibly something in the Pacific, which is so far away. You know, if I'm reluctant to do a blitzkrieg on Greece on the grounds that I'm so weak I can barely control myself in the Baltic and the Northern Europe, and I don't want to go into the Mediterranean, well, I certainly don't want to go into the Far East at this point. I did think about doing a little pros and cons, but I think this isn't the time. Interesting though they are already thinking about peace, but this isn't the time to agree to a peace. Interesting an option though this is. So, yep. Peace negotiations derailed. A new research area of radar and electronics. Guess which research area is going to get a high priority straight away? Still resisting, secure in the full fortifications, go fortifications. It's nice that Rule the Waves 3 has really made it explicit that coastal fortifications are really important for defending. General Staff suggests a plan, and not a Greece again. No, not Greece. Norway, yes, not Greece. We've sunk one of their destroyers. I'm going to have a little look at the almanac just to see how many they've got. They've got a radar in Northern Europe, so might just close that down. Let's see how we're doing here. So steel sausages have delayed the construction of the Reichsgraf and of the Scharnhorst and of one of the corvettes. So that's not good because the Reichsgraf got delayed the previous month. Not enjoying that. The Russians have commissioned 4 new destroyers, so that sort of makes up for the 3 that have just sunk, although they'll take some time to work up. Spain seems to be nicking our research into like forces. So yeah, interesting. Germany seems to be very, very leaky, very spyable. Yeah, they've sent one of their Murmansk-based light cruisers, at least one, off raiding. So I could put my Northern Europe cruisers onto trade protection to try and hunt them down. The number of merchant ships they are sinking is trivial. Still no blockade, of course, because Graf Spey's in repair, so it can't be helped. 4 more months to get by without the Graf Spey. Construction, you can see the Reichsgraf now is at 13 months, whilst the Graf Stauffenberg is at 11 months, which is all very unfortunate. We have all of these trawlers with their mine capabilities. They are certainly going to move into the Baltic, puts them on the active fleet. They are poor, so they'll not be very good, but that's fine. They'll learn on the job, hopefully. Okay, so I was going to have a little look at the almanac. And the almanac says that the Soviet Union, still with 6 battleships, who've done sweet FA, as we say. No battle cruisers, 3 carriers in construction now. They're building clearly a 3rd one. Let's just go here and into their ships and see if it's the same class of construction. Where are they? Yep. So it's a 3rd of the Baku with an estimated delivery in 1940. Yeah, we probably should certainly be thinking of building a new carrier, although our finances are a little bit weak if we back to the Soviet Union. So then they're building a lot, actually. So they've got their 6 battleships and 1, 2, 3 heavy cruisers, one of which is going to be delivered in the next month or 2, but obviously will be working up and not really available, or at least super effective, until the very, very end of this year, the beginning of the next. 1, 2, 3, 4, or 3 cruisers, 2 of which are in Northern Europe and 1 is in the Far East, I believe. Another light cruiser building. Then these 3 carriers, 2 are merchant cruisers building, so possibly a bit of raiding going on with them. The seaplane carrier that's out in the Far East, the other one that's building, and then a set of destroyers. So let's just go back to all. We can see that their destroyer total is now 21 against our 44. And if we go back to the map and zoom in, our total in the Baltic is, oh, that's interesting. They have 5 battleships. So presumably one may have hit a mine or something and is in repair. 13 destroyers and 9 corvettes and 14 submarines. So 78 points. Our 3 cruisers, heavy cruisers, 5 lights and 35 destroyers gives us almost as many blockading points. So we just need a little bit more and we should start to significantly blockade them. Let's close that. Actually, whilst I'm thinking about it, the air bases should have finished construction that were being increased. And so I'm going to expand Danzig and, oh, sorry, they have been increased except for Danzig. So I just need to redeploy some aircraft into the Baltic. Okay, so I've denuded Emden and Tonda and Kiel out in northern European waters and sent them to Schrunemeed, Kolberg, Pillau, Danzig, Riga, Reval, and Libau. I've also added some torpedo bombers, which are going to be trained for night fighting at several points. And I can still do some more here in Danzig. So let me just finish that off. A torpedo bomber and give them 20 and also make them night capable. Night capable because in these northern waters, yes, it's summertime at the moment and nighttime is very short, but as it starts to go into autumn, the night times will really expand upwards. So that's okay with that. And yeah, after that super short battle, I'll call the episode now because heaven knows that could be, in an hour-long battle on the next one. So thanks very much and come and join me for the next episode.